Let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Welcome to a day late episode of Blockbusting. Hi guys, I'm Jay Light. I'm your host. Joining me, my guest, sitting on my couch instead of in the Comedy Store studio, is Pat Barker.
Hey folks.
Pat Barker, thank you for joining in today, buddy.
It's great to be here, and better a day late than not at all. And if any of your listeners have a problem with it being a day late, they need to reevaluate their lives. This is free entertainment, and Jay's working hard for you.
And we're only 5 episodes in. I literally just got out of a lift that Pat saw me get out of.
It's true, I
did. Into my apartment.
I can corroborate those events. You just got out of a lift. You just got back from Detroit?
Yep, it was at the Motor City Comedy Festival.
Jay Light at the Motor City Comedy
Headline,
Festival.
I'm on the poster, baby.
Hell yeah.
So they said I should get it framed, and I was like, maybe I will get it framed.
You absolutely should get it framed.
That's a milestone for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on a poster before.
That's amazing. For a comedy festival, no less.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we've all been on posters that exist like on the internet for bar shows and stuff, but this is this is the thing.
It's like someone else designed it, and I'm a featured name on the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like right below Sean Patton and Dave Landau and Frank Castillo, the champ, who we were trying to record an episode. Before we get into the thing, I do want to clarify what happened and why this episode's a day late. So Frank and I were both at this festival. We were staying at a mansion, and we were going to record very late at night. We were both staying up all night. We both had stuff we had to work on.
How much is a mansion in Detroit? Was it like $45?
Yeah, I think they got it for a cool $50.
Were you staying with Eminem?
You know?
That's a yes.
No, we were in Eminem's neighborhood.
No, okay.
Legitimately. We walked by his house. He's got a truck out in front of his house at all times with somebody sitting in it to keep an eye on
that makes
walking
sense.
by the neighborhood. Yeah. So I stayed with a wonderful young comic named Brett Hayden and his grandma. Very cool. Super fucking huge house. They had a gym. And I tried to go record in this gym at like 4 in the morning, Detroit time, because that was when Frank and I had both finished our assignments, or at least got to like a breaking point. And then when I lost the audio.
What?
Because I fucked up the recording.
How'd you do that?
I was using Frank's recorder.
Uh-huh.
He has a Zoom that is a model that I've never used before.
Okay.
And I pressed the wrong button at the wrong time, I guess.
Wow.
Fucked it up.
That's
on
and
me.
The champ Frank Castillo brings the ratings. That's the podcast you want. That's how you get the listeners.
And this is just exactly. Frank is the guy. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, you're good friend. Wrote on HBO, been on Roast Battle.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just
I'm
a
no
couple
Frank
of scrubs.
Castillo.
No,
Yeah,
you're no
yeah.
Frank Castillo.
Frank is a get. I'm the guy you call when you're like, hey, I fucked up the audio. Can you come record this podcast in a couple of hours?
Yeah. And that's exactly what and I hit you up at what? It was 6 in the morning, Detroit time, so it was like 3 LA time.
Yeah.
I assume you were up you were doing some work, hanging out with your baby.
I was hanging out. I had an assignment just like Frank, and I wrapped it up, and I was working on some other stuff and hanging out with my 3-month-old son. And because we cover shifts, so I have to watch him. Because my wife has a real job. She wakes up in the morning and she needs her sleep. So, yeah, so I was up. You hit me up. You said, hey, can you come do this podcast in case of emergency? And I'm here. I'm excited to talk movies with you.
I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for coming in, Pat. Let's get to it.
Yay.
So first of all, we're going to cover the box office results from this weekend. It fell out of the number 1 spot. Clowns are no longer terrorizing the nation at an alarming rate. It has been overtaken by Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Sequel to Kingsman: The Secret Service. Did you see that one?
Nope.
Matthew Vaughn.
Don't know who that is.
He directed Kick-Ass and some other stuff.
This is going to be a theme. I warned Jay ahead of time. Movies are not really my thing. This is what you get when the audio, corrupts and you got to
Well, you
scrape
like
the bottom of the
sports.
barrel.
You're a sports guy. Do you like sports movies?
I love sports movies, yeah.
What's your favorite sports movie?
Oh, probably Major League.
I've never seen Major League.
Major League is so good. It's genuinely funny. And it's a heartwarming baseball story. A lot of quotable moments to come out of it. Yeah, I would say Major League. White Men Can't Jump is another
I've never seen.
another classic.
There are basketball hustlers in that movie, right?
They are. There's a twist because one of them is white, so everybody's like, white boy can't play, right? So Wesley Snipes shows up to the courts on Venice Beach, and he gets all cocky, and everybody knows him. He's really good, and then he goes, "Man, I'll take any two people out here. You can pick my teammate." And everybody goes, "Yo, give him the white boy!" And like Woody Harrelson's standing, he's got like mismatched socks and like a sideways hat. And everybody's like, "The white boy can't play." And he's like, "Is this a basketball?" And then he gets on the court and they kick the shit out of everybody. It's a really good movie.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like movies that are fun. I don't like movies where I have to... I was listening to the last episode of your podcast, Blockbusting.
Yes.
Yeah, great podcast.
Thank you. Great podcast.
I'm a big fan. And your guest was talking about, in regards to Mother, how he said, "I think Americans just don't like to think during movies." And that checks out because I'm an American and I hate to think during movies. Mm-hmm. So I didn't take that as an insult at all. I just took that as, why would you want to think?
No, exactly. I mean, I get that. I tend to enjoy myself more at the movies than most. Here's the thing. I saw Logan Lucky in theaters a little while ago, and I really enjoyed that movie. It's not going to make my top 10 list at the end of the year. It didn't even make my top 10 list now. But it was a fun movie to sit through. I would go see it again.
Yeah.
If other people wanted to go see it, I'll go see Logan Lucky with you. It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
They say it in the movie itself. Ocean 7-Eleven. It's enjoyable. Steven Soderbergh is back.
Yeah,
And that's what I feel, well, that's what Kingsman looks like, too. Because Kingsman's like, oh, it's a spy movie, and there's going to be explosions, and Channing Tatum's in it, and whatever that guy, Colin Firth. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got an eye patch, and he used to be dead, but now he's alive, and all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, that sounds like an enjoyable romp.
I can see why that made a whole $10 million more than it did at the box office this weekend.
Well, it has done very well. What's it at? Like $250 million now or something crazy?
It's officially at 266. It's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Do you think that this opens the door for remakes of every old horror movie?
God, I hope not.
Do you think this becomes the new thing in the same way that they know, we could put out any superhero movie pretty much and it's going to make a boatload of money?
Well, here's the thing. It kind of already did that. Because that been going on. I think the film that probably really started that trend off was Rob Zombie's Halloween remake.
Yeah.
But they've been doing that for years. You know, Last House on the Left got a remake. The Hills Have Eyes got a remake. Nightmare on Elm Street got a remake. Friday the 13th got a remake. I think that this is by far the most successful iteration of that trend.
Yeah.
What I would be interested to see if this is going to cause a resurgence in Stephen King produced things. Because I already know Netflix has 2 Stephen King properties coming out later this year. Mm-hmm. We already know that It is going to have a sequel that comes out, it looks like probably 2019. And that is really just the second half of the book, where everybody's adults now and not just kids. So that was inevitable. But what other Stephen King stuff could be made? Who knows?
So wait a minute. When they're adults, is the clown just old as shit in the second one? Is he like a really old clown?
I don't know.
Or does one of the kids, is it like a zombie where now you become a clown if you get bit by him? What happens?
I think what happens is that the clown is like an evil Cthulhu type entity.
Okay.
And it takes different forms over time, but the clown never ages. It's ageless.
Oh, it's an ageless clown. All right, that makes sense.
I don't know. It's a giant spider at some point.
I forgot. Yeah, it becomes a giant spider. I saw the original It back in the day. That was the first
with Tim Curry.
Super scary movie that I saw. Yeah, where I was just I was terrified. But that was a great movie.
I never saw that. I was not allowed to watch a lot of things. I think you know this about me. I was very sheltered growing up. I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of movies. I think probably the scariest movies that I watched growing up, I watched, you know what? Not a lot of outright scary movies, but certainly movies with scary moments. If we're going Disney movies, which I watched pretty much the entire Disney canon up until I was 14 or 15. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Terrifying.
Holy shit.
Right?
There's the very end when, like, the entire city of Paris is coated in lava from a demon volcano.
It's intense for a Disney movie.
It's very intense. It gets very dark. There was, do you ever remember a movie called We're Back?
No.
So there's this movie, and it's called We're Back, as I just said. I'm still sleep deprived.
Spoiler alert.
I'm still sleep deprived. And it's about dinosaurs who are back. And
oh, that's cool.
It's set at the Natural History Museum.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Jurassic Park?
Because this is set at the Natural History Museum. This is animated movie.
Oh, okay.
So it's set in the Natural History Museum. It's based on a book by the guy who wrote The Polar Express. I don't remember his name. Christopher something?
Robert Frost.
Good old Frosty Rob. And I
came up with the word polar, and I was like, what's another cold word that's also an author? Frost! Yeah.
Robert Frosty the Snowman.
Right.
And this book, turned into a movie, is about dinosaurs at the Natural History Museum who come to life in modern-day New York, and they, show up at the Macy's Day Parade, and everyone's like, oh, balloons! Oh, wait, you're actually dinosaurs! And then there's a kid who's like, you guys are dinosaurs, and he runs away with the dinosaurs to the circus.
Sure.
And the circus guy, his name is Dr. Screw Eyes, because he has screws for eyes.
Apropos.
Very on the nose.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. And he...
I need to see this movie.
It's a great movie, and he turns the dinosaurs evil for a little bit, and when the dinosaurs are evil, that's some scary shit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. So, definitely worth... That's about all the scares that I got when I was a youth.
My mom was very protective. She would never let me watch scary movies, but my dad had a big blind spot for Stephen King stuff because he loves Stephen King. So I think he just wanted to share that love with somebody, and there's his 6-year-old son. So he's like, he'll figure it out eventually. He's old enough.
Great. I wish I had parents like yours. My parents loved Stephen King books. They have a whole ton of Stephen King novels back at their house.
Well, that was the thing. Before I ever watched the movie, I went to the library across the street when I couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old, and I just started reading it. I just sat down, and the librarian had to come over and be like, you can't do that. Like, you're 7. Put that book away.
We did see, that was when we were in Detroit this week, and we went through a thrift store, and we found a first edition copy of it for $40.
Wow.
And we almost convinced Frank to buy it. Because you can sell that on eBay for like $250.
Why wouldn't you buy it then?
I don't know. Whatever.
That's an investment.
I don't know.
Come on, Frank.
I got no answers for you,
Get with
Frank.
the program.
Come on, Frank. Let's keep moving along. We got number 3, a new entry, the Lego Ninjago movie. Continuing the Lego movie franchise, I guess. This is the first time I've seen a Lego movie that I was like, okay, I don't think I want to go see this one. I love the other Lego movies.
Having a 3-month-old son, I know that my chances to say, no, I'm going to pass on the Lego movie I don't have much longer of that.
No, you don't.
I'm going to have to go to a lot of Lego movies in the future. So now when I see them, I push them off to the side.
You're going to have to take your son to, the Emoji Movie 3 when that's out in theaters.
I'm fine with that.
No, don't be.
Stop.
Aim better.
Stop shitting on the Emoji Movie.
I am going to keep shitting on the Emoji Movie. It's at number 18 in the box office.
It's elitist. You're being elitist, Jay.
I'm being a realist.
Sometimes a cartoon lump of poop has something funny to say, and I don't think we should stifle that creativity.
I'm not going to let a cartoon lump of poop say anything to me, even if it is voiced by Sir Patrick Stewart. I will not stand for that, Pat. Coming in, let's keep moving down the line. We got number 4, American Assassin, sticking in the box office this week with Michael Keaton and Dylan O'Brien, making $6.25 million. Mother at number 5, $3.29 million. Home Again, the Reese Witherspoon rom-com, coming in at $3.23 million. I have 2 new entries at 7 and 8. Friend Request, a horror movie about the internet. It sounds like this is one of those ones that you can just probably gather what happens in that.
It's a bot.
It's a bot.
Was that the twist at the end? It was never really a real friend.
It's been a troll the whole time, but a real troll. That would actually be I would watch that movie if there was
If that
a
was
movie
the newest
about,
Trolls movie?
Yeah, if that was like it was actually internet trolls, but they were real trolls, and then you got murdered if you hurt them.
Best movie involving a troll, like a real troll.
Wait, like a real,
like not an internet troll, but a troll, like live
a
under
troll
a bridge
troll. I mean, there's so many.
Nope, there's one answer.
You're gonna say, I mean, I feel like you're goading me into saying one of two answers, which is either Lord of the Rings movie, or a troll in Central Park.
Never seen Lord of the Rings.
Good. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's dumb. I watch good movies. Speaking of which, best troll movie, Ernest Scared Stupid.
I've never seen
Classic.
Ernest Scared Stupid.
It's the best of the entire Ernest back catalog.
All I've seen is Ernest Saves Christmas.
Oh, he did so much more than Save Christmas, Jay.
He got scared stupid.
He got scared stupid. He went to jail, which was hilarious. There's this cross-dressing. I don't want to spoil it. So
Please don't. I
So
want to see this for myself.
Slam Dunk Ernest. He plays Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, Jay, you got to... How can you have a movie podcast if you've only seen
Jim
one Ernest
Varney
movie?
and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar together
yeah.
at last.
Yep.
All I've ever dreamed of. See, that's the favorite part about about having this movie podcast is I always hear about movies I need to see.
Right. I've never seen The Godfather, but I've seen every Ernest movie.
You've never... Oh, boy. You should
If that
your...
doesn't sum up my qualifications as a movie...
You should put that on your business card. Do you have business cards still, or are you past that point?
No,
in your career?
I'm past the point where I spent all the money on business cards years ago, and now I have no use for them.
Don't worry about it.
I decided I'm going to watch The Godfather in 5 years on the 50th anniversary of its release.
Okay, that's fair. I think you can hold out for that long.
Yeah.
Coming at number 8, Stronger, which looks, based on its poster, to be about a movie about a guy who is missing a leg, and he's a gymnast of some kind. So there you go.
It's not... What's the Boston Marathon movie that's coming out? That's not Stronger, is it?
No, that already came out. That was Patriots Day. Unless there's another Boston Marathon movie coming out.
No,
I mean, this is what we have the internet for.
That might be it.
Boston Marathon movies.
You know what happens?
Patriots Day. Oh, no, Stronger is a Boston Marathon
There
movie.
it is. Yes.
You called it.
Fantastic. Yeah, the guy gets his legs blown off.
Yeah.
And at the Boston Marathon.
Stronger.
Yeah, which is, you wouldn't expect that if you lose your legs to become stronger, but here we are.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. He's stronger, guys.
Yep.
1.6
Boston
million.
Stronger.
And then we have 2 more movies coming in. 9, The Hitman's Bodyguard, finally slowly ending its run in the top 10 at number 9. It's getting close. 1.608 million. And then we also have Wind River rounding it out, number 10. Movie about Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen tracking down a murderer in the frozen north.
Fantastic.
It looks pretty good. I want to see that. I hope it's out in theaters soon. All right, let's get to some movie news. You haven't seen any of the ones in the box office yet, have you? You haven't seen any?
I have seen none of those.
It's cool.
The only thing I can contribute to any of that is my Ernest conversation. And you mentioned Reese Witherspoon one time when I was an Uber driver 3 years ago. I picked up her mother-in-law, and she was delightful. And she gave me a $5 tip. This is before you could tip on the app. She just gave me $5 cash.
Whoa.
She was a sweetheart.
That is very nice.
So I root for Reese Witherspoon in everything she does.
Good, good on you. She's a good lady.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some movie news from the week. So I think the most important movie news for your life, Pat, is that the Clifford the Big Red Dog movie has a new director. This is a new story I did not cover in the original episode, but
you know your audience. I love
God
that.
damn it! It sounds like a great story for you and your child.
Fantastic.
Walt Becker will direct the Paramount Pictures live-action CG hybrid movie adaptation of Clifford the Big Red Dog. This coming to us courtesy of Variety. So there was, this is a classic book-to-movie adaptation that I think can't go wrong. Because it's a kid's movie.
Which Clifford book is it?
I'm assuming Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But here's the problem. So these are the movies that Walt Becker has directed, okay? Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip. Not even the original. The third terrible one.
Right.
Old Dogs.
Another dog movie.
National Lampoon's Van Wilder.
Ooh, okay.
And Wild Hogs, which is the only movie that I've ever walked out of in theaters.
This is not a super impressive resume.
No, it is not.
Yeah, Yeah, it makes me worried at how faithfully they'll stay true to the Clifford, print series.
I'll tell you what. Right now, I'm worried about how much toilet humor is going to be involved in this dog movie. Like, there's probably going to be some dog buttholes that get flown around.
Yeah.
This is a man who directed Van Wilder. See, the cars don't even agree with this choice. This is a terrible directorial choice, I think. And I didn't even have a stance on this movie before I started talking with you about it.
It's a Clifford the Big Red Dog. Who are they supposed to get? Christopher Nolan? Like, it's just...
I would love a Christopher Nolan Clifford the Big Red Dog.
That would actually be super
That would be great.
Yeah, I'd be a big fan of that.
Because he'd do it all practical. He'd find a way to make a giant red dog in real life. You're not going to do any CGI with Chris Nolan. Come on.
Maybe since Mother bombed so hard at the box office, Darren Aronofsky can hop on board this project.
Maybe he could. He does already have a track record of working well with animals. He made Noah. Yeah,
definitely. The whole movie could be an allegory where Clifford represents nuclear bomb testing in the Pacific Ocean or something like that. And then at the end of the movie, it'll just be called Cliff with an exclamation point and everything lowercase. And then at the end of the movie, everybody'll burn Clifford at the stake, and it'll be like, that's why the football players have to kneel.
Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Bravo. Pat, if you write that movie, send it to Darren Aronofsky.
Thanks, bud. I think I can do it. Yeah.
I think you can do it. They made 60 titles in the Clifford the Big Red Dog series. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see what they mash up from the Clifford the Big Red Dog series. This is one of the classic books of my childhood.
I honestly think that you give each story 2 minutes and you just do like 60 short stories and just sort of cram it all.
120-minute movie?
Yeah, why not? I took my son to the library this weekend for the first time. And
yeah?
We were looking at the Clifford books. They have Clifford Goes to Hollywood, we read at the library.
How does Clifford do in Hollywood?
Not well.
No?
He's a dog, and it's more of a people town, and he wants to be famous, but he has the handicap of being a giant red dog.
How can you not be famous if you're a giant red dog, though? That screams instant fame to me.
I mean, look, he has success. It's not like he's going on auditions and then failing and then he's like suicidal or anything. He does fine.
He doesn't like turn to dog Xanax to help quell his anxiety.
No, it's nothing like the true Hollywood experience. Like, he's not miserable like the rest of us.
That's probably a good thing. You know what? I could see Clifford getting a good job as a tour bus operator, and by that I mean he would just be one of the buses, and he could have seats on top and seats below. That would be great.
That makes total sense.
Have his little girl owner steer by the ears.
I think they dropped the ball.
Yeah,
that's what it should have been. Clifford the Big Red Bus.
And then you put it in London. Speaking of London, look at that classic segue, Pat. This is coming to us courtesy of Entertainment Weekly. The Fast and Furious live tour is set to begin in London next January. It's coming off the screen, guys. 8 movies in. They're not stopping anytime soon. They want to show it to you in your arenas. This is going to be the new Monster Jam.
What is it?
So there's going to be
Vin Diesel driving in circles for 2 hours?
Well, Vin Diesel will not be a part of it, other than as part of an intro movie that will show. So it's just going to be other dudes driving in circles for 3 hours, including a new story, precision performance driving, and state-of-the-art 3D projection mapping. The show will span 23 cities in 14 countries. Its tickets are going on sale on September 29th, at the end of this week.
Yeah, I'm good. Hard pass on that.
I'm sad to say that I actually would be very interested to go see
Really?
Fast and Furious. Because here's the thing. Have you watched the Fast and Furious movies lately?
No.
Okay, so I hadn't seen any of the Fast and Furious franchise until... I'd seen the first movie, I'd seen the second movie, hadn't seen anything since then. And then a buddy of mine dragged me to Fate of the Furious earlier this summer. And I was like, whatever, fine. And then I got in there, and it was a very enjoyable movie. And I didn't have to think. My brain just shut off. And I got to watch people drive. Hot people driving around.
Yeah.
In cool cars. It's a fun movie. So I could see this playing off well in a live-action setting.
I could see that. It would probably be cool. Like, when I go to Universal Studios, one of my favorite things to do is that Waterworld show.
Oh, yeah.
You ever go see that? That's great.
I've seen the Waterworld show. I've never seen Waterworld, and I don't ever want to.
Right,
but
apparently
who cares?
Waterworld itself is awful, but they managed to take an awful movie and made this great live experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Fast and the Furious Live is probably like a lot of fun.
It'll probably be a good time. They're going to allow audiences worldwide to experience the extreme action sequences through an authentic live experience. Have you ever been to the Disney World, the Indiana Jones stunt show?
Yes. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
This can't go wrong.
I mean,
unless somebody dies in the car accident.
yeah, I didn't want to say it. I was like, how grim are we supposed to get on the podcast?
We can get grim. We got to talk devil's advocate here. Trust me, the next story, my closing news story for today is very grim, so don't worry. This is coming to us courtesy of IndieWire. Harry Knowles of Ain't It Cool News allegedly sexually assaulted an Austin woman 2 decades ago, and Alamo Drafthouse owners didn't take action. So, are you familiar with the gentleman Harry Knowles?
No, tell me about him.
All right, so I'm going to show you a picture of him.
Okay.
You guys should all go look up this guy yourself if you're not familiar with Harry Knowles. Harry Knowles is a film critic who started this website called Ain't It Cool News. This is what he looks like.
Oh, wow.
I would describe it as, Frank and I described it last night as someone who definitely looks like he has to grope women.
You know, he looks like a human Guess Who character.
He's got the spiked up hair.
He's got spiked up hair. He's got a giant red beard with no mustache. He's wearing glasses. He just has all these defining characteristics.
His buck teeth.
Yeah. This is not a pleasant person to look at.
No. But he's going to be the last one standing on the Guess Who board of, hey, who touched these women inappropriately at the Alamo Drafthouse?
He looks like Steve Bannon after a Guy Fieri makeover.
Yeah, he looks like somebody. He looks like Peter Jackson if somebody poured bleach all over Peter Jackson. He is so. Harry Knowles lives in Austin. Started this film criticism website that was one of the first criticism websites done by somebody who wasn't a journalist. You know, you had your Roger Ebert, your Gene Siskel's, your other people for like the Village Voice and whatever news outlets. So this is a guy just starting a website.
And just a guy.
Yeah, just a guy.
Yeah.
You know, probably out of a basement, judging by the look at him. And he became very famous, and he lives in Austin, which is a vibrant film scene. The Alamo Drafthouse is based out of there. And so he is sort of a titan of the criticism world and of the film world in Austin. Because he's involved in the Alamo Drafthouse programming, and he does stuff with film festivals and that kind of thing. So now there is this woman, Jasmine Baker. She's fully disclosing her name and using pictures. She is saying that in the 1999 and 2000 tandem of years, they were at Drafthouse events together, and that he rubbed up against her buttocks and legs in a way that made her feel uncomfortable. While she was initially willing to consider it an accident, on a later occasion he rubbed up against her again. She confronted him about his behavior, made it clear that he did not have consent to touch her in any manner. He just giggled about it. Which, picturing this man giggling, horrifies me.
Well, I've seen the Pillsbury Doughboy commercials. I know how it works. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly how it, yeah.
So yeah, that's not cool.
So now he has been basically let go from some stuff. Some of his co-founders or his co-critics on this website have resigned from their positions. He is no longer a part of a film festival in Austin that he co-founded, and they declined. The members of the Alamo Drafthouse board, like the two founders, the League family, have also declined to comment on any of this allegations going on. And all that Harry Knowles is saying is, I categorically deny it. They were friends, and she treated me like a confidant. So,
I have thoughts on this without knowing the guy.
Give me them thoughts.
These aren't going to be popular thoughts, Jay. I'm going to get really controversial.
Give me those thoughts, Pat. Give me that controversial thoughts.
All right, well, here's what I don't understand. And this isn't about this case in particular, because I don't have all the details on this case. Mm-hmm. And I feel it's important to say that, because what we get in the story probably isn't all the information that people have.
Right.
So they might be acting on information that I don't even know exists. But if what we're all going on is this woman saying that this thing happened, is there anything else? Are there other women? Is there any? It's just.
I got nothing else. As according to this IndieWire story,
Right.
no other news from other women.
Yeah.
And it's from 20 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. The film critic, I found about this story through film critic Twitter. And it sounds like the base there is, hey, probably want to believe this woman. Which, again, judging by the look of Harry Knowles, yeah, sure.
But how can we judge by the look at him? I'm not the most pleasant person to look at. I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, but
let me make clear. If this guy did any of this, then he's a piece of shit and he deserves to lose all of that.
Yep.
100%. I'm not defending any of these alleged actions. If they happen, then yeah, by all means. That's it's interesting to me how things have moved in a direction where if one woman says something happened 20, it's just taken as sort of gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, I don't know this guy. There might be a lot of smoke leading people to this fire. You got a big grin on your face because you know I'm walking this tightrope.
You are walking a tightrope, and I like that you're walking a tightrope. I like you. This is why I booked you as a guest.
I'm just trying.
Because you take the tightrope walk.
I'm
not going to take the easy way out.
But it's a pointless tightrope to take, right? Because if people see me walking on this tightrope, then the response is that I am disbelieving this woman. And
right.
Why would I disbelieve? Why would she just say this? And I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know why she would just say this. What I'm saying is it's possible that she's not telling the truth. Can we all just agree that is a possibility? Is it a probability? Maybe not. Is there a good reason why she would make this up? Probably not. But it's just I don't know. I always get uncomfortable when situations like this arise, where at the first and there's no evidence. You know what I mean? Where the first word comes out and instantly this guy just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable. I don't think there's anything wrong with stepping back from a situation and saying, I would love to get more information. I would love to get more facts before I make a decision. But the way it is you have to make a decision instantly, and it can only be this one thing.
And see, I agree on, hey, we should probably hope to get some more information out of this. But here's the point I'm gonna make, is that he voluntarily pulled out of this festival. He voluntarily did that move, and that seems like something, because he also posted a tweet that said something to the effect of, there's a negative story about to come out about me. It's not true, but it's coming. So he definitely knew that something was about to go down,
right? At
the very least. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure this is probably something we'll wind up coming back to in coming weeks as this story develops. What's going to happen in the Austin film community and sort of the film critic community at large, because this is already something that the Austin scene had to deal with before. There's a guy named Devin Faraci who was a film person associated with the Alamo Drafthouse and Fantastic Fest at the same festival, who got accused of sexual harassment and copped to it and resigned from his positions as the festival programmer. And then they hired him back on this year, and everybody freaked out because, hey, you're hiring back on somebody who is an admitted sexual assault person. That's an assaulter. So it's
now to me that's more understandable.
That I get.
I totally understand the freak out with that.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Yeah. I always hesitate to rush to judgment on anybody before we get all the facts. I mean, I don't know anything about this guy. But you saw what just happened in the NFL where Ezekiel Elliott, you're a Cowboys fan, right? Got suspended for 6 games. And then essentially the suspension was overturned by a federal judge who said that the judge said, I am not making any, judgments regarding his guilt or innocence in this case.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is the investigation was categorically unfair. It wasn't a fair investigation to Ezekiel Elliott. And I think that, and there was a lot of evidence in that case that the woman fabricated at least parts of her story.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I read about all of that.
So I don't think it's that absurd to be like, well, let's wait till we get a little more information. So what I'll say is, because I'm probably not going to be on the podcast for a follow-up once the official results come down.
I doubt it.
What I will say is, if any of this is true, then fuck this guy, and I hope he loses everything.
I'm gonna judge the book by its cover here, and this is an awfully handsy looking cover. I'll say that.
Oh, come on! Why? Because he's fat?
No. It's because he's fat and wearing a Hawaiian shirt. No, that's stupid. That's the dumbest explanation possible. He's because he's a fat nerd. No, that's also a bad explanation because I used to be a fat nerd.
Right.
And I never groped anybody when I was a fat nerd because I don't know.
I'm still a fat nerd. I'm happily married.
But you don't have red hair and glasses. You don't have like the
my
other.
My beard has a ginger hue, and I wear contact lenses. I'm not that far off from this guy, Jay.
Maybe that's why you're so defensive. Is because this is like an alternate version.
It's like a funhouse mirror. I look at this guy. I'm like, oh, this is my worst case scenario.
Man. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're not there, Pat.
I do think if he doesn't want to look like a total creep, he should grow a mustache.
To join up with the beard and not just go full Amish?
Beard with no mustache.
Yeah.
That's shady to me.
That, I think, is probably what's freaking me out about it, too.
Yeah, that I can see.
And I also don't like that he has that Beekman's World hair thing going on.
No.
That's something that very few can pull off. Your child can pull that off. Your child definitely can rock that.
Great head of hair on that kid.
Great head of hair.
Yeah.
But once you get past a certain age, you got to wear your hair a little bit more conservatively.
Yeah, I agree. The dude, he seems like somebody I would not enjoy hanging out with.
He's a very eccentric looking gentleman.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
All right. Let's change gears. So, Pat, first of all, thank you for coming on short notice.
Of course.
With a movie that you do hate.
Yes.
And it's a movie that I like, and I already feel weird about this. Because I have a feeling that when people find out I like this movie, they're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because it's a very basic movie.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way. Pat Barker, you hate La La Land.
Oh, it sucks. It's one of the, it's garbage. It's not a good movie. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun. You don't care about the plight of any of the characters until like 2.5 hours into them. It's so long. I wait 2.5 hours to build any sort of emotional connection with the characters, and then the movie ends?
It's only 128 minutes. It's only 2 hours long.
Are you kidding me?
No.
It felt like it was 4 hours long, Jay. It was the best part, well, not the best part, but one of the cool things about being in the Writers Guild last year was I got all the Oscar screeners. And I watched a lot of movies that I would never normally watch. And I tore through them all, and across the board, I liked all of them. They were all quality movies. And then I got to La La Land, and I was like, what is this shit? It's just, it's two people who come to Hollywood, right? And the struggle is personified by them being pretty successful, relatively speaking. Like, we know we're part of the struggle. And we know people who are struggling way worse than them. Like, frankly, neither of them ever had it too bad. And then they both end up succeeding at the end.
Yeah.
So how is that representative of Hollywood? And I understand, like, I thought, because I love LA. I've been out here 4 years. I love this city. And I really thought, watching it, it's like this love letter to LA as a city. And, like, all the things that I like about LA were not represented at all in this movie. And then you got a white guy trying to teach me about jazz. Get out of my face with this shit.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
I will stay with you on the white, all the stuff with the jazz.
Uh-huh.
I could give a fuck less about any of those parts of that movie. Here's what. Let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So, La La Land, for any of the people out there who have not seen it, Came out last year. American musical romantic comedy drama film written and directed by Damien Chazelle with Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone. It's a musical. Harkens back to very old school filmmaking technique, some Busby Berkeley kind of shit, some old like silent movie stuff in there too. Very old Hollywood feeling. And it won a ton of Oscars.
It won Best Picture for a minute.
It won Best Picture. This is the part of the super controversial part of this movie. It won Best Picture for about a minute and a half, and then it was given to Moonlight, which I think was the better film between the two. I do think Arrival was better than all of those movies, and I think Arrival should have won Best Picture. Actually, I think that's Swiss Army Man was the best movie of last year, but that wasn't going to get nominated.
I preferred Hell or High Water to both of them.
I never saw Hell or High Water.
I don't even know if that was nominated.
It was.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I got to see that. But it won Best Director, Best Actress for Emma Stone, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, Best Production Design. Got nominated for a bunch of stuff, and it came out, and it is very well reviewed and critically acclaimed, and a box office success. Made by a director who everybody liked because he made Whiplash. Did you see Whiplash?
No.
Whiplash is a great movie.
I've heard, yeah.
Whiplash is, it's another movie about following a dream. And I think what happened with La La Land was it became very, very popular to hate La La Land very soon after it came out. Mm-hmm. Because it is a pretty fucking basic movie. At the end of the day, it's a crowd pleaser. It's designed to be a movie about Hollywood, but for people who don't live in Hollywood, I don't think. It's supposed to be this whole sort of like dream factory, like you don't know what it's like, so you can live vicariously through these characters as they struggle, blah, blah, blah. And I think that being the fact that we are in Los Angeles and in Hollywood, that there is a different way that we see this movie compared to the general populace.
Well, then let me ask you a question. Why is it so revered amongst our community? Right? When you look at awards, that's what this is. They don't have some mechanic in Des Moines voting on the Academy Awards. It's all us. We're voting. We're celebrating this movie that is not a crowd pleaser. Because I was part of the crowd and I wasn't pleased. I was angry. I was angry because nothing happened. All right, you're stuck in traffic and now everybody's dancing on their car. I don't care. Okay. Here's all right. So I just want to touch on real quick. You ran through all those awards, right? And this is me being as basic of a person. Keep in mind, Slam Dunk Ernest, top 5 movie to me. So take everything I'm saying with a fucking grain of salt, because I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But I go into a movie and I want to be entertained. I want to be told a story that is interesting to me. I want to be told a story that makes me, feel something and care about the characters involved. And this movie did not do that. So all the other stuff, the cinematography, the score, it's visually, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. There's a lot of colors and shit. I like colors. It's cool. Right? It's a visually stunning masterpiece. I don't care. That's not why I go into movies.
You go to movies to turn your brain off. We already discussed this.
I go to movies.
That's why the Ernest movies are the best franchise of all time to Pat Barker.
I'm exaggerating on the Ernest movies to prove a point about how dumb I am, but the point, and that's not to say that a movie that is beautifully shot can't be a movie that I really enjoy. Okay. For instance, one of my favorite movies is Training Day.
Never seen Training Day.
Training Day to me is a fantastic movie. I love the movie Training Day. And I got it on DVD and I watched with the director's commentary, and he talked at great length about the particulars of the shots. And that's why this shot is so beautiful, and here's how we did this, and here's how we did that. And I realized that after I finished watching it with the director's commentary, I was like, all of that stuff is objectively true. All of these shots are great. It is well scored. I gained a newfound appreciation for everything else. But to me, that's all ancillary stuff. If I don't care about the story, I'm never going to come out of a movie and be like, wow, what a good use of my money. I'm bored as fuck, but those costume designs, the set design was through the roof. I don't care. That has to be the icing on the cake. That can't be the cake.
I get that. I think So I approach movies a little bit differently than that, I think, because I have this film school background, right? So I had to look out, like, I had to take classes on basically all the little elements that make a movie. I had to take cinematography classes, I had to take multiple writing classes, I had to take a production design class. And
I had forgotten that you went to film school.
yeah, see? That's, again, ties back into the podcast, too.
Yeah.
Because I love movies. And I think that this movie ticked a lot of boxes for me. Because I remember watching stuff in class that felt that is direct homage to stuff that was done in, or vice versa, I mean. But stuff in La La Land that was directly done as an homage to movies from the 30s and the 40s. As far as some of the really elaborate dance sequences and some of the crazy, pretty much any time there was a song that was being done on screen, except for the really smaller scale ones like City of Stars, it was all designed to be something that was, it touches a part of nostalgia for like classic Hollywood.
Okay.
So the thing that really struck me was like, oh, this is very impressively made. And the story, I get caught up in that whole, like, oh, the dream of Hollywood is romanticized and idealized. And I get caught up in all that bullshit. I'm a simple boy. I have emotions are running through. That's what I run off of. I'm not really a logical person.
Right.
I think that I got caught up very much in all of what was going on with that. Especially because I also think, I think the score is the thing that really sold the movie for me. As the repeating of the tones and the sounds and the same song coming on over and over again and using different instruments, and the closing sequence where they do the whole thing where he goes into they go to the jazz club with her new husband, and he's playing the song, and then it brings back this whole flood, and they're dancing around on the soundstage and all that stuff. I really love that sequence, and I think that is probably the best. That's the best part of the movie to me. Some of the other stuff, like the arguments that they're having over, like, he's going to be in a band, and he has to go tour. That's like, okay, I can take that or leave that.
And I think that's what it boils down to for me, is that I just didn't care as much about the story, nor did I become emotionally invested in the characters.
Yeah.
And to me, La La Land is a cake that's made by the cake boss, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a visually stunning cake. You walk in and you're like, holy shit, that's the greatest cake I've ever seen. And then you take a bite, and it's carrot cake, and I don't like carrot cake.
Yeah.
Right, so what do I care, all the frills and bells and whistles, if I'm wolfing down a piece of carrot cake that I don't like?
Yeah. Why care about how nicely somebody frosted the carrots on the outside of the icing of this carrot cake?
Now, I will say this. Your background is so much different than mine is. Mm-hmm. I went to college. I took one film class because I thought it would be an easy A. I took film history and appreciation because I was like, I like the Ernest movies. I appreciate them. I'm going to kill this class, right?
These are historical gems, of course.
Yeah. It was at like 6:30 in the morning. It was the only time it was available. So I was like, oh, no problem. I'm not a morning person. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I would go to that class, and I would sit in a theater that was dark while we watched silent movies, and I was awake for maybe 10 minutes of the entire semester. I just slept through the entire class. So that's my entire film background. Mm-hmm. I will say, I appreciate, like a good homage, right? I appreciate a nod to the past. I just don't recognize them because I'm not as ingrained in the movie world as you are. For instance, I'm a big sports fan.
Right.
So Jack Buck was one of the greatest announcers of all time, baseball, and he had this great home run call where he simply said, it was a game that extended the World Series to another game, and his home run call was simply, it was like, fly ball, left field, we'll see you Thursday night. That was it.
Wow.
And then years later, his son, Joe Buck, who was a much worse announcer.
Yeah, well, the hair plugs didn't do anything for his speaking abilities.
No, they for sure didn't. Great hair plugs, though. But he had an homage to his father's call in, I believe, the 2011 World Series, where there was a home run. He was like, "We'll see you tomorrow night," and it was the same thing. And I got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not immune to that thing, but without the proper context, it means nothing to me. And I understand as like a film person, it would mean more to you. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like how there's a lot of that also in rap music, because everything is sampled, and there's so many lines that are like an homage to previous lines from, like an old Slick Rick track or something like that,
right,
that I don't realize, and then one day I'll randomly hear like a Slick Rick song that I've never heard before, and I'll pull 5 things out of there that all of a sudden give new meaning to these other newer songs that I was aware of first. So I respect that. I just, they need to understand that if you're not a film, I think it's one of the reasons I can't fully appreciate Tarantino.
Really?
I
can't appreciate Tarantino.
I like his stuff. I like it. I'm not a Tarantino nerd. No, I'm not. Okay. I'm not super into it.
What's your favorite Tarantino movie?
Pulp Fiction.
Well, okay, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But so why do you feel like you can't appreciate it?
What I'm saying is I can watch and enjoy Tarantino movies on a level.
Right.
And there's
like a pure audience.
Yes.
I'm watching this movie level.
Totally. Without previous context of his other work. Right? Or not even his work, the other previous work that he is referencing.
Right.
Because he's big on referencing.
Yep.
Right? I can appreciate it without an understanding of what he's referencing. So to me, that's the sweet spot. Where you can make a movie that me, a simpleton, can come in and be like, oh, I appreciate this. And then you would go in and you would enjoy it on a whole other level.
Right.
Because you would get everything I'm getting out of it and then some. You would get more out of it. Mm-hmm. Because you are deeply ingrained in the world of film. But it doesn't preclude me from enjoying it.
True.
With La La Land, I feel like all of the stuff that was enjoyable was stuff that you would have to be a film person to be into. Or maybe the story connected with a bunch of other people and just not me. I don't know. I know we showed the movie to my mother-in-law, who loves the idea of Hollywood, and she loves musicals, and she thought the same thing I thought. She's like, it was boring, I didn't care about the characters. So I have at least one person backing me up.
Interesting. And I think you have other people backing you up, too. Like, I'll go out and I'll say this. The characterizations of Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, the characters they play, pretty fucking thin. They're not written particularly well. Yeah. I think that it's very stock. It's very, again, this is the adjective I keep using. They're basic. Yeah. They're very, there's nothing flashy about these guys. The flashiest thing they do is a dance sequence, and that's something that is not really in characters because it's a musical. A musical is sort of a heightened reality anyway. Right. So I think the difference, and the reason why I appreciate this movie so much is because I think it is a very technically well-made movie. Now, I will say, I do think that Whiplash is a better movie than this movie, and I would encourage you to go see Whiplash if you haven't seen it yet. Just find it's out on all the streaming shit, I'm sure. Okay. You can find it somewhere. Because Whiplash has sort of the same kind of story as La La Land does, on a lot smaller of a scale, and it's not a musical. The whole plot of Whiplash is this drummer, played by Miles Teller, he's at a music conservatory, and he joins a jazz band. This is like the top jazz band. He's a freshman. And he's good enough to join this band, led by basically a tyrannical conductor. Mm-hmm. And it's about him having this sort of back and forth, kind of good versus evil, but not really. It's about what you sacrifice for your art. That's what the movie, the way that movie boils down is, what will you sacrifice in order to succeed as an artist? And nature versus nurture, and that kind of stuff all comes into play too. I think it's a better movie, and it's a better written movie because it's got a more compelling through line. Because this movie is not so much about what will you do for your art, even though there's parts of this movie where sacrifice is involved, but it's all hypothetical stuff, and you get to see what the hypothetical is at the end of the movie anyway. Whiplash, you don't get that.
Okay.
Whiplash, you just get tragedy, and this you get to have the wish fulfilled, and you get to see the flip side where they're actually like living in the regular reality. So you get to have your cake, you get to have your carrot cake and eat it too with this movie. And that is not something that I necessarily like to see in the movies all the time.
Yeah, and I think that if we're being honest, I think I have to make certain concessions, and I have to say that when I see a movie that's a musical, I'm willing to deal with a little bit more basic characters.
Yeah.
A little more, I'm willing to go in and be like, it's tough to get really intricate and get into these people's true feelings and everything when they're breaking out into a song and dance number every 5 minutes.
And the song and dance is explaining everything that they're feeling.
Right. Yeah. And you just, there's an element of that where if it's going to be a musical, you just have to accept the fact that it's going to be a little bit more basic. But I just thought there was no, the first time I cared about the characters was when they fast forwarded, and spoiler alert, she married a different guy and had a daughter. Mm-hmm. That was the first time where I was really like, oh shit, what's going to happen now? And then what happens then is the movie ends. So yeah. I just think you got to grab my attention a little bit sooner than that. And dancing on cars just doesn't do it for me. Yeah,
and dancing on cars does it for me, but the characters in this movie don't do it for me. And I think that's the thing that where this movie suffers. It's really a technical masterpiece, and I think that it deserves all of the awards that it got. Well, maybe not Best Actress. I think the Best Actress probably should have gone to Amy Adams, who I don't even remember if she was even nominated for Arrival. Again, the best movie that got nominated for the Oscars last year. But Best Cinematography, that's a no-brainer to me. Because the colors and the shots of the dance sequences and all the stuff. I mean, that opening sequence alone, dancing on the cars, that is a mind-blowing sequence. And I remember seeing that in the theater and just utterly being, my jaw dropped. I don't know where that just came from. What just happened there?
Your computer was reacting violently to you saying that people dancing on cars was a mind-blowing sequence, and your jaws dropped. Your jaw? Are you serious?
It's a great sequence.
It blew your mind.
I was just like, because I hadn't seen something like that in a movie in a very long time on a big screen.
Will you tell your computer to shut the fuck up, Jay? It's making all these noises. I have to get to the bottom of this. So you mean all right? So you watch it in the theater?
Yeah.
So you go into the theater, right? Mm-hmm. And these guys they're stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Because it's L.A. And then they get out of their cars.
Yeah.
And they dance on their cars.
Yeah.
And here's little old Jay Light, halfway back in the theater, just sitting there like...
I'm not halfway back. I'm close to the screen, buddy.
All right, well, okay. You're just sitting...
Best seat in the movie theater is where you go and the screen is completely... Your whole field of vision is the screen. None of this sitting far enough back so it's like you're watching a TV. Get the fuck out of here with that. Go see it and let the screen fill your vision.
Okay, all right. Don't preach to me when you're telling me that you saw people dance on cars and you were like, I've never seen anything like this. My mind is blown.
No, it's not that I've never seen anything like this. I hadn't seen anything like it in modern cinema. I hadn't seen anything like that in a very long time. The only time I'd seen something that came close to that, maybe Beauty and the Beast, the animated one, where it's animated and you can do all kinds of crazy camera shit because it's animated.
Right.
This felt like watching... There are times when it felt like watching impossible shots. And I always appreciate that in filmmaking. That's why I like Inception so much. That's why I like Children of Men and Gravity. Movies that are... The camera work is so unique that it takes on... That becomes kind of a character on its own.
Yeah, see,
which is cinematography.
That's the difference between you and I. When you saw that movie, your jaw dropped, your mind exploded. It's this homage to an era gone by, and I'm sitting there thinking, how long did they have to shut down the fucking 405 to get this goofy shot to have people dancing on their cars? Which to me, I'm like, why are they dancing on their cars? Why is everybody so? I'm trying to figure out the logistics of why you would dance on your car. And how long shooting ruined people's commutes for, and you're over here just appreciating it.
It was filmed on a span of 2 days, required over 100 dancers, and not every portion of the highway was blocked. So There's your answer.
You know how traffic for any portion of the highway to be blocked.
They did it specifically on the carpool ramps, so people just couldn't take the carpool lanes.
Yeah, so if you have a family, go fuck yourself.
Right.
Basically.
If you're trying
if you
to
have a family or any friends.
Yeah. But yeah, best actress, but best director, yeah, I get it. This is Damien Chazelle is 32 years old, and he's making movies that come together as effectively as this.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo, you deserve to win the best director Oscar for that. Yeah, I think La La Land doesn't quite hold up as where I would have put it last year at the end of the year. I think I had it maybe at like number 5 or 6 of my top 10 movies of the year. And I don't think it would hold up. And I certainly think that Whiplash is a much better movie than La La Land. I think that Moonlight deservedly won Best Picture between the two of them.
Yeah, agreed.
And I also think that the characterization is thin, and I think that all the jazz white guy stuff is stupid. But it was an enjoyable movie. I enjoyed it. And you can't take that away from me, Pat.
I can respect you. I can respect you less.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can live with that.
I don't respect you. I respect your
You don't respect me. It all comes out now. Freudian slip.
Oh, Jay, we watch movies differently.
We do. And now, well, you know what we should do now is we should watch the Ernest movies together.
No, because you're not going to appreciate them.
I think I will. I liked Ernest Saves Christmas. I already told you that once.
No, you said you watched it. You didn't tell me you liked it.
Oh, I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I enjoy movies.
How was the cinematography in Ernest Saves Christmas?
I mean, it's no La La Land. I'll
Right.
tell you what. It's not even a The Santa Claus. So, Christmas movies, I don't give a shit about the cinematography in Christmas movies as much because it's about Christmas.
Okay. I want to sit down with you and watch an Ernest movie and have you break down the cinematography to me.
Okay. We can do that.
First, you have to tell me what cinematography is. I've been bluffing this whole time. I have no idea what the hell we're even talking about.
Well, you've been pulling off a hell of a bluff, Pat. Thank you for coming in today, man.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What are the social media places that our guests, or that my listeners, can find you?
Everything is at Pat Barker Comedy. And I got a new podcast that comes out every Tuesday. It's called Pat and Jeff Like Sports.
Part of the Verbal Violence Network, which I am also a part of.
Exactly.
How convenient.
So we are network mates. And yeah, we talk sports.
Cool. We'll give that a listen. Go look at that on iTunes and all the other places where podcasts are found, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Keep an eye out. It's brand new, so you got to go through a process before you get it on iTunes.
Right,
Just keep an eye out, and cool. It'll be here real soon.
Keep your eyes peeled, and it's available just like this one is on verbalviolence.tv. You can check the podcast feed there on the Verbal Violence website. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. J-Like Comedy for jlightcomedy.com. Excuse me. I'm so sleep deprived. jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And please, if you're listening, leave me a review or rate in iTunes because it helps the podcast get more listeners, you guys. And I love you guys, but I want more of y'all because I'm greedy. Matt, thank you again, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
Hey guys, this has been an episode of Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.